Hi, I'm Mike Goodpaster from the Grueling Truth Sports Network, and I'm here with just one simple message. If you're watching the games, it's time to start making money. The Grueling Truth has recently partnered with MyBookie.ag, an industry-leading sportsbook website, who reminds you that where you bet is just as important as who you're betting on, and that's why the Grueling Truth urges you to check out MyBookie.ag. In addition to the usual thousands of odds, money lines, proposition bets, and futures offered on MyBookie.ag daily, they also have in-game live betting and a mobile site that makes wagering on the go easier than ever. So join now and MyBookie will give you up to a free $1,000 cash bonus on your first deposit. Just enter promo code TGT50. That's TGT50 to take advantage of this offer. You can also go to thegruelingtruth.net, click the banner at the top of the page for MyBookie.ag, and also get the same benefit and the same $1,000 free cash bonus on your first deposit. So visit MyBookie.ag, courtesy of the Grueling Truth, and enjoy winning today. MyBookie.ag. You play, you win, you get paid. Welcome to Inside Boxing Daily on the Grueling Truth Sports Network. Inside Boxing Daily is brought to you by Seat Giant, which if you go to seatgiant.com, you can use promo code LEGEND to get 10% off all of your orders for all your ticket needs. Also brought to you by Retired Boxers Foundation. You can go check out Jackie Richardson and Alex Ramos on Facebook there for the Retired Boxers Foundation. And of course also brought to you by MyBookie.ag. Go to thegruelingtruth.net, click on the banner at the top of the page. You get up to a free $1,000 cash bonus on your initial deposit. I am your host for Inside Boxing Daily, Mike Goodpaster. And tonight we've got a special edition where me and Jeremiah Preisser go on to interview former lightweight world champion Greg Haugen. Greg's a great guest. We're sorry for some of the language that Greg uses here in this interview. But I'll be back after the interview to wrap the show up. But right now, let's check out the interview me and Jeremiah Preisser did with Greg Haugen.
Hey, how's it going?
All right, great for you to be here. Great to have you on, Greg. We'll just start off. Tell us how you got started out in boxing.
Yeah, actually, I was a little kid. I was pretty small for my size, and I was 5 years old, and my dad was in the Marines, and he used to get my head shaved every Saturday, and I was basically tired of me coming home crying, so he put me in his boxing class, and, I did pretty good at it, so I ended up liking it, and, had a lot of fights, and became pretty good at it.
Yeah, you started at, age 5, I believe, and then you stopped at, 15 or so?
Yeah, I started fighting when I was 5, and by the time I quit when I was 15, I had about a little over 300 amateur fights, and, I only lost like 20 of them, and, fought a lot of good fighters, and I just was burned out on it for 10 years, and, I kind of took the time off, and I met a girl, and, and we were together, from the time I was 18, and I used to have Johnny Bumpus and, some of these guys that I fought as amateurs coming on TV fighting and stuff, and, and I used to talk, tell her about it, and, so finally she just says, you need to get back in the gym, and so I got back in the gym and, fought a couple fights, and then I took like a bronze medal in the 1980 Olympic trials, and, decided that, I wanted to move to Alaska, and I started fighting the tough guy fights up there.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about that. Why did you move to Alaska? And then tell us a little bit about the Tough Man contest, especially the famous win over the Yukon Crusher.
Yeah. Well, actually, I moved up there with my brother-in-law and sister, and I was moving up there to go to work, and drove a truck up there for a friend of ours because he lives working up there and he needed his vehicle. So you know, and then I was there for a while, and then I started going to the bar with a buddy of mine, and you know, watching these tough guy fights, and just thought it was kind of a joke for one, and you know, there's a few tough guys in it, but basically, you know, I mean, they were just tough guys with no ability and no condition, and so you just go out there for one round, and they'd be dead tired, and you just beat the shit out of them. You know, and I fought guys up, you know, I was like 135 pounds at the time, and 140 pounds, I was fighting guys, you know, 200, 220, 230, so, yeah, I mean, it was basically you walk in the bar, and you walk up to the promoter, and he asks you how much you weigh, and you tell him, and he looks around to see, you know, and asks this guy over there what he weighs, and asks you guys if you want to fight, and basically how it was done.
So did that experience help you turn back to the professional game? I mean, is that kind of, you know, you kind of got your head, you rolled up your sleeves a bit and got involved in that, and then, you know, you just said, well, I'll turn pro and, you know, see if I can make some money?
Well, yeah, I mean, basically, I was out skilling everybody in the tough guy fights because, you know, I could go out there and one round I'd give them the old armadillo where I'd just cover up, you know, and they'd just pound themselves tired. And after that, I'd just beat the shit out of them for the second, third round or knock them out. And, you know, and I knew I had skills and, you know, but I'd been off for 5 years and, you know, just smoking dope, jumping rope, and eating cantaloupe, basically, and fucking,
doesn't sound like a bad life.
I knew I could fight, but so I came back, moved back to Washington after I won the Alaska lightweight title. I fought a guy that was 24-0, and I beat him, and I beat him again, and we fought again in a 10-rounder because when he was in 1980, he was number 7 welterweight in the world through the Ring magazine rankings, and his name was Noel Aristotle, and so after I beat him, you know, I knew that, you know, maybe I could turn pro and, you know, do something, and so I moved back to Washington and proceeded to turn pro. But, you know, my first fight was 10 rounds, and my third fight I went 10 rounds, so I was basically more of a long-distance, you know, fighter than a, you know, amateur fight. Because the amateurs that I lost, I usually wouldn't warm up till the third round, so I'd lose 2 rounds to 1, and, you know, but I was more suited for the long-distance fights.
All right, so you won your first 17 fights before challenging lightweight champion Jimmy Paul. Can you tell us a little bit about that fight and what it was like the night you won the lightweight championship of the world?
Yeah, well, you know, he had a choice of you know, those guys to fight because you know, I wasn't his mandatory fight, and so they were strolling. Him and Emmanuel Stewart told me this story, but they were strolling through the rankings, and I just happened to be number 12. I just got in it because I beat Edwin Corrette for the NABF title, and so they didn't really know much about me, so they picked me. You know, they said, "Oh, we want him." So, and you know, and Emmanuel Stewart was at my wedding because I got married 2 days later in Caesar's Palace, and he came to my wedding and told me, "Shit, we didn't know anything about you, man. We picked you because you were the name in the top 12 that we never had heard of." And he goes, "We definitely picked the wrong guy." So, you know, I knew that he was a great fighter, and he was, you know, at the time him and Hector Camacho were champions, and Edmund Rosario was the other champion. And I considered him the better fighter of the 3, and because he had a great jab and he had a good right hand. You know, and I mean, he was knocking guys out, and, you know, so, yeah, it was a good fight, good win.
Yeah, Paul's one of those underrated Detroit boxers that a lot of people forget about, but, you know, you ended up going to Providence and, you know, traveling to Vinny Pazienza's hometown, like it seemed like you did a lot of times. You ended up getting, you know, controversial decision.
Yeah, I got robbed. You can say I got robbed.
Yeah, you got robbed.
Yeah,
Jeremiah's not old enough to have watched it, but I did. You got robbed. I was
beat
pissed.
him up, man. His eye was closed. He was bleeding out of the nose.
Yeah, I don't think you had a mark on you, did you?
I didn't have a mark. Well, I had a little cut above my eye from a headbutt. And, yeah, I mean, they robbed me. Pure and simple.
Yeah, well, why were you in his hometown of Providence? Is that just a bad bit of?
Well, because he was gutless. He wouldn't fight anywhere but his hometown. He liked the home cooking, and now I know why. But I used to like to fight guys in their hometown. I mean, I got off on going into people's enemy territory and shutting the 10,000 or 12,000 people up where they don't have anything to cheer about. That's fun to do, but, it doesn't always work in your favor, especially if you're getting your ass kicked, it makes it even worse. But, I knew that I beat him up. I beat him up for 15 rounds, and then we had a rematch, I think 6 months later in February, and he didn't fight because he was healing from a broken nose, and I had a 10-round tune-up fight in between the time. And then we fought again in Atlantic City, and I just beat him up even worse, and they didn't rob me that time.
All right, now, you lost your title to Pernell Whitaker, once again in his hometown. You had to be wondering at that point what the hell your management was doing. I mean, you're the champion, you win the title, and immediately you got to go defend the title on somebody else. I think with him it was in Norfolk. Did that ever affect your performance in a fight, just kind of wondering what was going on with your management?
Well, I had an idiot for a manager. I knew that, but, I didn't mind it sometimes, but, I mean, I seriously thought I was going to knock Vinny out. I underestimated his toughness. He was, like, tougher than a $2 steak, but, I underestimated him, but I wasn't happy about going to Norfolk and fighting, but my manager got outsmarted by the Dubas, and he'd take an extra 20 or 30,000 and fight in their hometown, and I'm just finally said, hey, motherfucker, I'm the one having to fight these guys. I don't like this. So, but yeah, as soon as our contract ran out with that guy, I got as far away from him as I could, because bottom line is, the next guy that he had, he got killed, and he probably would have got me killed too if I wouldn't have had so much skill. But, he got this one kid from Louisiana that was supposed to be a pretty good amateur knocked out in the States. And then he took him over to overseas and had him fight again like 30 days later, and the kid got knocked out both times, and he went into a coma the second time. And somehow this low-life weasel got money and sued somebody. I don't know, but this guy was just a parasite, man. I learned that, there's a lot of those guys out there, so I was a little more cautious next time.
Yeah, there are way too many of those guys in boxing then and now, but, you were the first person to beat Hector Camacho, and it seemed like you did pretty well with the mind games, calling him all sorts of names, taunting him when he missed it, et cetera, et cetera. Basically outsmarted him and outfought him. You want to talk about that one a little bit?
Well, I met Hector in like 1981 when he was a junior lightweight champion. He came up to Alaska, as a promotional tour because he was fighting up there in the Sullivan Arena. He was moving from junior lightweight to lightweight. And I think he fought John Montez up there. And he came up there, and they had him lined up to spar with me in a couple public expeditions. And, he just thought I was some hillbilly hobunk from Anchorage, and he was going to come up there and just tee off on me in the sparring sessions, which was held at the Sheridan ballroom, and he started dropping bombs on me in the first round. I said, okay, well, you want to do that? So I started tagging him back, and I tagged him a few good ones at his mouth and nose bloodied up by the end of the third round, and, so we were supposed to go 4 rounds on Friday, and then 8 rounds on Saturday at 2 different places to promote the fight. But, come Friday night, he says that, or I got a call from his management and said, Hector's got to leave town. There won't be no sparring tomorrow. So I knew him from Alaska, and I just got in his head, because I knew Hector was a great fighter, but Hector only really liked to fight a minute of each round. You know, and so if I was to go out there and make him fight for 3 minutes of the first 6 rounds, well, that's like a whole fight for him. So by the 6th round, he was gassed. He was breathing hard, and I was punching him. I was hitting him in the belly, and every time I'd hit him in the belly, I'd hear him, oh, oh, oh. You know, just making some bad sounds, and, you know, it was slowing him down, and, you know, it was hurting him. So, you know, I just continued to make him fight continuously for 3 minutes of each round, and he wasn't used to that.
Now, in the rematch after you win the first fight, which was a close fight, you got, in my opinion, you got screwed in the second fight. It was a close fight.
I know I did.
But I thought you'd won. And the thing that really tipped me off, I remember watching that fight, was Camacho, if I remember right, left the ring before the decision was even read and had to run back into the ring.
Well, that's because Dan Newman told him to get back in the ring. And here's the deal. Remember, they said, oh, the owner, Larry Merchant, the fucking idiot he is, told me, oh, the only reason you won is they took a point away. I don't care how I won, Larry. I won. That's all that fucking matters. You know, but I got it. I goaded him into taking a point away from him again in the second fight in the 11th round. And, you know, and he knew he lost the fight because he left the ring. And he was halfway away from the ring or the dressing room when they finally talked him into coming back in the ring. And he knew it as well as I knew it that they had the decision. That's the only thing I can figure out. And it was that Dave Moretti, that idiot moron Moretti from Vegas that gave Hector the 12th round, which ain't no way he won the 12th round, which cost me the fight. So, yeah, I mean, I knew I got screwed in that fight too. So, but, you know, it's just boxing.
Yeah, Dave Moretti, funny enough, he's viewed as one of the respectable boxing judges. I mean, he's still at it, but
he's still screwing up decisions today.
He still got his job. I don't know how he got his job. If you look at some of his decisions, you're just going, what the hell fight was he watching?
Yeah, but I think he's still got a job because that's what the promoters want.
He does. He's still in the state of fucking Nevada. And I don't know how. I don't know who he's blowing, but, you know.
Well, he's probably taking some kickback money from whichever promoter pays him, and then he votes that way.
Well, there's no question. You know, Bob Arum's the biggest promoter in the state, and, you know, he's always judging Bob's fights, so it wouldn't shock me at all. So, you know,
I was going to say that, you know, and you ended up going on to the Chavez fight after that. You know, you said some things that had ticked some people off, but, I mean, from what I understand, you didn't say a number of those things.
I didn't say a lot of that stuff. Yeah, Don King was the one that was saying that stuff that I said it, and he's a lying motherfucker, you know. And I told him, I said, you know what, Don, you're trying to get me killed. And I said, the first fucker I'm coming after is you, motherfucker. I mean, there's 10,000 angry Mexicans standing outside my hotel, you know, wanting to lynch me because they said I said they were nothing but a bunch of greasy wetbacks, and I never said nothing like that. You know, the only thing I said was a Tijuana cab driver. I ain't afraid of him. You know, he's fucking got a pumped up record for fighting a lot of Tijuana cab drivers.
And I talked to Ruben Castillo yesterday, and he wanted me to bring up the fact to you that he's not a Tijuana cab driver. So. Yeah,
well, Ruben's moved up. He's moved up from driving cabs. So yeah, there was a lot of things that were said that, you know, that I never said, you know, that he was trying to incite the riot to just sell out the place. You know, he's selling the tickets for, you know, the nosebleed section for 10 pesos, you know, just to have a sellout. You know, and then they're throwing pesos from the third level at me.
Yeah, so the Chavez fight didn't turn out too well for you. You got stopped in the 5th round, but you did fight Chavez and Whitaker, who are two of the greatest fighters that, you know, between lightweight and welterweight that ever lived. Which one was better in your opinion?
Oh, Whitaker, easy, hands down.
Well, I think they proved that when they fought too, but of course Don King controlled those judges, so it was scored a draw.
Yeah, that was a joke. I mean, he beat Chavez up, but you know, I mean. Anytime you're fighting a southpaw, it's a nightmare to begin with. But when you're fighting a talented southpaw, it's hard to hit, it's fast. That's a fucking nightmare, man. It's just, it's like your worst dream, you know, because everything you've been taught in fighting, jab, right hand, doesn't work. You know, it's right hands, left hooks, and controlling the foot. You know, you got to control his, you know, you got to have your foot outside of his so he can't control you. And there's a lot more that goes into it. When you're fighting a good southpaw like Whitaker is, it's a nightmare.
Yeah. So like we talked about, Chavez experienced that firsthand. I mean, even Sports Illustrated ran an article talking about how terrible the decision was. But anyways, how was retirement? I mean, did you have a tough time adjusting to retirement? You know, when you finally up and decided to call it quits?
Not at all. I wasn't, you know, getting hit at all, and all the hard work that went into it. And I mean, I miss the competition. The only thing I really miss. I don't, you know, I never did it for the fanfare or, you know, anything like that. I did it because I like the competition. When you're matching up against two guys with good skills, it's like a good chess match. You know, you got to be thinking 2-3 moves ahead to set this guy up to make him think you're going to do something that you're not going to do, and he's going to commit himself. And by the time he commits himself, he's done left himself open, and that's the end of the fight. You know, it's like when Freddie Roach, when I fought him, I hit him with a left hook. You know, and fight was over. Or Charlie Brown, you know, 30 seconds into the fight. You know, I went out and bent into him and cocked his right hand back, and I got out of there. Well, I told myself I'm going to go back there and stay just a second longer, let him commit that right hand. And I did. I went in and bent down, and he threw that right hand. I pulled back, boom, I hit him with a left hook, lights out.
All right, so do you still follow boxing?
Yeah, once in a while.
So what's your opinion on the Mayweather-McGregor so-called fight?
It's a joke. It's a joke.
Yeah.
It's, you know, I'm surprised that they've conned the public into fucking giving him $100 million when it's going to be a ranked amateur against a seasoned professional. I
don't even know if you can call McGregor a ranked amateur, can you?
I don't even. Yeah, well, yeah, because he's not even that. You know.
I know.
He's just. It's the only thing I can equate it to is a third grader trying to go to 12th grade. That's what it's going to be like. He's going to be in places he's never been, and he's going to be so confused. I don't even think he's going to land a punch. I really don't.
No, and I'll tell you, bringing that up, Jeremiah, you get the next question, and Jeremiah is a dude that was a 12th grader that was in third grade.
Hey, thanks, man.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I did want to comment on the fight a little bit, but really who they're taking advantage of, you know, the Mayweather-McGregor situation is casual mixed martial arts fans. I mean, there's been a ton of money already put down on the fight, and they only have McGregor as a 4-1 underdog.
I just hope McGregor forgets and whops that fucking goofball upside his head with a flying fucking foot kick. Pow! Lights out, motherfucker. You know, that's what I'm hoping. But, you know, as far as an amateur, as far as any skill goes, that kid's got no skill. And Floyd's one of the greatest fucking boxers ever, but, you know, he's lost a lot of respect to a lot of people because he's been ducking the best guys out there like Triple G and, you know, the other guys, and he doesn't usually fight them like Pacquiao till he was over the hill or, you know, till he was about shot. So, you know, Floyd's not the best ever, you know. He's the fucker's dreaming if he thinks that.
Yeah,
but,
and the thing that gets me is the fact that, you know, Floyd will go around and say, well, I'm just giving the people what they want. I would rather see a rematch against Canelo or maybe him have some balls and move up and fight Triple G.
No, he won't do that.
No, I know he won't do that. Number one, he got Canelo when he was young. He got Pacquiao when he was done. I mean, Mayweather early in his career when he was at junior lightweight, he fought everybody. But it seemed like as he started making the money, he was just in it for the money, if you know what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah. You know, he bamboozled people into buying, you know, paying $100 for the Pacquiao fight. I'm sure they're going to be charging $150 for this fight. It's a joke. I mean, I seriously doubt that McGregor's going to land a punch. I mean, I think Floyd, I got to hand it to him and his team for, fooling the public of, all these hundreds of $1 million he's going to get paid. But, as far as I'm concerned, he could stand there and jab McGregor's eyes shut. McGregor won't even land a punch. It's a joke because he's an MMA guy and he's not able to use any of his other skills. And he's not a boxer. They showed him, there's a video of him on TV on the computer.
Yeah, I guess Chris Van Heerden, wasn't it?
Yeah, Chris Van Heerden.
mean, it don't matter who he's in there with. Unless he's doing the MMA, he has no shot. I don't even think he'll land a punch. I really don't.
No. No, and the extent of his amateur background, I think he was like a decent amateur when he was 15 or so. Like, had a couple local tournaments, but. Anyways, on to a fight that
guys from the pub, he's fighting drunks like Irish fuckers staggering. I ain't ready. I'm gonna fight you, matey. Yeah, sure. And then he's gonna step up and fight one of the best boxers out there. You gotta hand it to the, for them for fooling the public to pay him all in millions. But hey,
Well, you remember this? So Oscar De La Hoya did the same thing with what was supposed to be a legitimate boxing match a couple months ago. With Chavez Jr. fighting, Canelo. I don't see how anybody could have thought going in that would be competitive.
Because, he wants to keep Canelo happy and get him some easy paydays. I mean, Canelo ain't making the, 20, 30 million a fight. So, the few million that he's making, he's got to keep Canelo happy, and you got to throw him a stiff every now and then. And that was
but the thing that's amazing is all the people that bought that and thought it was going to be Hagler Hearns too or something.
Well, it's all the Mexicans. They're true fight fans. Even the Mexican women are fight fans. I mean, and when you got two countrymen fighting each other, you're going to get a lot of pay-per-views. And Chavez, he's shot. I mean, the only thing he's living off is his dad's name, and he couldn't have carried his dad's jock strap.
What do you think of the Alvarez? Golovkin fight? That's not a.
I think it's great. I think it's great because they're both they're both not over their hill and they're both in their primes, and I think Oscar did a hell of a job by making the match. Floyd should take some tips from that, and he's going to have undercard of all his stiffs on the undercard of the McGregor fight. Well, he doesn't have any guys that can fight, so who the hell wants to see the undercard? It's going to be as bad as the main event. It's a joke. I know I won't be watching it. I'm not even.
No, I'm definitely not paying $100 to watch that.
I'm not even going to go to a friend's house to watch it. It's an insult to a fighter. I just hope McGregor forgets where he's at and kicks that fucker right upside his head and knocks him out. Oops, I forgot. God damn it, I forgot I wasn't supposed to kick that motherfucker.
Be a bittersweet moment for all of us, wouldn't it?
That's what I do. I just fucking let him have it. Because he's going to think 2 glove factories blew up in his face because he's going to be getting hit from everywhere. I mean, he's going to be looking up, pop, 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 pop. Unless Floyd's, now that he's 40, because the fighter, they'll go from having it one day to not having it in one fight. So
it's not like he's George Foreman where you never lose your punch, but you do lose your speed.
Exactly. And that's the only hope that McGregor's got is that when he wakes up the day of the fight, he's lost a step. Because everybody says he's got a puncher's chance. No, he doesn't. He's not even going to land a fucking punch. So how can he have a puncher's chance if he can't hit the guy?
So my question is, even if Mayweather wakes up and he's old that day, he's still good enough to beat Conor McGregor in a boxing match.
Oh, yeah, and that's what I'm saying. That's why I hope Conor forgets and whaps him upside his fucking head with a boot.
When I know a couple of casual mixed martial arts fans, a number of which are actually putting money on McGregor, and they're like, oh, McGregor's just going to run, or Mayweather's just going to run around the ring. He could stand right in front of McGregor and with him.
He ain't gonna have to run around the ring. He's gonna be stepping and moving and shifting weight, and McGregor's gonna go one place he thinks Floyd's gonna be, and he's throwing punches at, and he's gonna be on the side of him, rat-a-tat-tatting him on the side of the head. Stupid Irishman. Fuck.
Now watch, you're gonna piss off Irishman now, Greg.
No, it's just him. To think he's got a shot. I mean, he's drinking something. I don't know what they're putting in the Guinness over there, but must be something good.
All right, Jeremiah, you got anything else?
No final words. Well, I did want to talk about. I did want to ask one question that was not in there, but I was wondering what do you think of the corruption in the sport, because you seem to have dealt with it on a number of occasions. I remember you talked about in the amateur ranks, you felt as if you got jobbed. In the pro ranks, you got jobbed a number of times. I mean, what do you think about it? I mean, is there effective ways?
It sucks because, you go out there and you bust your ass to get in this tremendous shape, and then to have some dumbass that doesn't know what he's doing, or, here's a guy that's making $50,000 or $70,000 a year working for, 380 or 40 days a year, and you got a promoter that'll come up and say, hey, I'll give you 50 or 100 grand under the table cash, make sure my guy wins, boom. It happens, believe it or not.
What do you think? I mean, is there a way that we can fight it?
I think I'll be run out of town. I think you got to get rid of guys like Don King and Bob Arum, the old school guys, and I mean, those are the kind of guys that are just bad for the sport. Guys that have been doing it for so long, they're set in their ways, and this is the way it used to be back in the 60s. Well, say the 60s no more, motherfucker. This is 2017. I mean, it's just a lot of bad people in the sport because it's not regulated. Each state's got different rules and different commissions, and most of them don't know their ass from a hole in the ground. Like here in Washington State, they got a boxing and wrestling commission.
Yeah, that's how it is in, I think, Ohio, Kentucky, and Indiana.
Yeah, I mean, and these guys don't know a right hand from a jab. So don't tell me you know boxing. I mean, it's just a bunch of morons and, are trying to oversee something they shouldn't be involved in, when we should have people that are knowledgeable about the sport and the business of it doing it, instead of these crooks that are, not regulated and not, not watched, and they're able to do what they want because they got a pocket full of cash. So that goes away, the corruption will be there.
Yeah, well, the problem is in this country, anytime you got money, you got corruption. And that's any country, though.
Yeah, sure. I mean, you got money, you got power. So, and until that changes, I don't see much change in boxing, especially since, like I said, with each state it's different. There's no federal regulations on it, and, everybody's different. So until we get a czar or a, grand poobah of fucking boxing, it's, going to be a lot of criminals involved in it.
Yep. Hey, Greg, it was an absolute honor to have you on the show tonight.
Hey, I appreciate it, man. You guys have a wonderful night.
Hey, you too, and we'd love to have you back sometime.
Hey, you got my number, man.
All right. Thanks a lot, Greg.
Tell Ruben to suck it.
You just did if he listens to it, so I'll make sure he listens to it.
Suck it, Ruben.
All right, guys, we're back on Inside Boxing Daily. As you can see, Greg Haugen can be, I guess the words would be quite a character from time to time. That interview was from a year and a half ago. I want to remind everybody you can hear Inside Boxing Daily every day, Monday through Friday, with Inside Boxing Weekly coming on Sunday nights with John Einreinhofer added to the show then. Me and Jeremiah will be back to cover the boxing news for tomorrow. And anything that we haven't covered from today, I don't think there was a lot there. But we thought that, you guys would enjoy that. Greg Haugen, of course, before Mayweather-McGregor, And obviously, I don't think he likes either one of those guys. But I want to remind everybody real quick, tomorrow at noon, we will have a little NFL free agency special on the Survive and Advance show with myself, Steve Risley. Anthony Servino will be in. Sarah Uran will be in from the APC agency to talk a little free agent news, probably about 20 after. First up, we'll have Daniel Brown, who is a tight end, who is a free agent, who's a Chicago Bear this past year. He'll be on the show for about 15 minutes to talk a little bit about free agency and what he's looking for in a new place to live and what all that entails, because it's something you don't really get to hear a lot of players talk about, but you'll hear it here on The Grueling Truth. All right, guys, we're going to wrap the show up. I want to remind you to go to iTunes. Please give us a comment, positive thumbs up, whatever you do on iTunes to help us out. It'll be much appreciated. If you have any questions, you can send the questions to Jeremiah at TGTN Boxing or to myself at Grueling Truth on Twitter. And make sure you go and follow, like our Facebook page, The Grueling Truth. Also, check out our, once again, mybookie.ag. Click the banner at the top of thegruelingtruth.net. You get up to a $1,000 cash bonus on your first deposit. And, of course, as always, we get the Retired Boxers Foundation, Alex Ramos and Jackie Richardson. They do a great job. Jackie's a great lady. Alex is, I mean, if you know Alex was a hell of a fighter, but I think Alex is an even better man. And anything we can do to help them, we always will. So make sure you go check out the Retired Boxers Foundation on Facebook. And we will see you guys tomorrow night. And remember, you can hear all of our shows on iHeartRadio, Spotify, iTunes, TuneIn, Spreaker, Stitcher, YouTube, absolutely any place you find podcasts. You will find The Grueling Truth. So for Greg Haugen, Jeremiah Preisser, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been listening to The Grueling Truth, where the legends speak.